Hello, everybody. Tracy, Mrs. JDog Flanagan with you here today. I'm the co-founder and senior vice president of JDog Brands. Welcome back to another exciting episode of Tactical Treasures podcast, sponsored by the JDog Foundation. Our podcast gives veterans, mil spouses, active military members, military family members, and patriotic military supporters a voice in the veteran space to speak about their service, how they're affecting their communities post-service, and they share with me a tactical treasure that has shaped their journey in their military career, business, or life. Today, I am so excited to have with me Stacey Ballard, who is a military family member with her father having served in the Army in Vietnam. Currently, she serves as the president and CEO of EDA Enterprises, where she has followed in the footsteps of her mentor, Ernest Eda, in creatively repurposing and developing locally historic buildings. While attending graduate school at Villanova University, Stacey began her 30-plus year career with EDA Enterprises as a laborer and odd job lackey. More recently, Stacey manages the operations and financial direction of the company, a privately held real estate portfolio in the western suburbs of Philadelphia. Her approach to business and life is collaborative in nature. 2 years ago, Stacey volunteered to head up the Veterans Association of the Easttown and Tredyffrin townships, now operating as mainline veterans, with the objective of using social media to bring more awareness within the community to neighboring veterans, promoting patriotism and pride in our country, and to do a better job of outreach to honoring and remembering veterans who have served in the community. In Berwyn, she also volunteers through the Upper Mainline Rotary Club, Good Sam's Food Pantry, Footlighters, Community Theaters, Capitol Building Plans, Easttown Township Planning Commission Board, and the Berwyn Devon Business Association. Hello, Stacey. Thank you for joining me on the podcast. Welcome, and thank you so much for your father's service to our country, ma'am.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. I'm so thrilled to be here.
Yeah, I'm excited for our discussion today. But I would love to hear about your dad's military career, and I know that there is an interesting story behind that. So I would love if you would share that with me.
So, my mom and dad met at Albright College, and at the end of my dad's senior year, he had signed up and enlisted to serve in Vietnam. So, at that point, my mother was pregnant with me. And my father and did some, I think, some basic training in Kansas, and then he went off to Vietnam. And I was born in Kansas, and then my mom returned to Pennsylvania to stay with her family. First time my dad met me was in Hawaii, and my mother
Oh,
was visiting
wow.
her. Yeah, my mother was visiting her sister, whose husband was a dentist in the, I think, in the Army, and and then eventually he was done, and he came home, and we were very grateful for that, of course. And we moved to Seattle, and he eventually was out of the Army, and we came back, and my parents kind of were figuring out. They were young. I mean, they were in their early 20s with the baby and trying to figure out what they were doing. And my parents eventually took over my grandparents' family flower shop and business.
Oh,
And
wow.
so my dad, it was interesting because growing up, my dad absolutely never talked about his service in Vietnam.
Mm,
He just didn't share it. He didn't he taught he never I don't know that I even knew why he didn't, but I do remember moving into our home, uh, where my parents live now, and it was in the summertime, and someone had set off fireworks outside of my parents' window, and my dad, out of a sound sleep, grabbed my mother, rolled her off the bed, and said, "Keep your head low." And my mom was like,
no.
"Oh my gosh!" Yeah. And I remember her talking about this and telling that story. And I would ask him, and of course, at the time I'm in like kind of like middle school, high school, and in history class we're talking about World War I, World War II, Vietnam, and we're talking about all these different wars in our history. And I remember having a conversation with him, and he really did not talk about it, but he would um, go by himself to see movies at the time in the 80s, like Platoon or Hamburger Hill. And he would come home, and the
Right.
only comment he would say is, "That guy totally understood," or "that had no relevance," or like relatability to what his experience was.
Right.
And honestly, only until now that my dad is in his 80s will he talk about his service in Vietnam. But he is so proud of the work we're trying to do, and he's so supportive of veterans, and he loves our country and he loves his service now, that I think he looks back on it and realizes how important it is to
Sure.
defend freedom and defend the tenets that make our country the best in the world. So
Right.
yeah.
And did he have an opportunity to go back, or you visited Vietnam, right?
So, yes, before the pandemic hit, a couple of my girlfriends and I went back to Vietnam, and it was eye-opening. It was fascinating. And I was talking to my dad, and our first couple days we were there, we were in the south in Saigon, and my dad served in the southern region of Vietnam.
Hmm.
And we were going on a tour to the Mekong Delta, and he was describing to me where he was stationed and had served in. At that point, he had gotten out into the field and was in supply. And it turned out we were in the same town that he was in,
Oh,
and
wow.
it was really incredible and kind of emotional and touching. And I know my dad would have, if his health had been better, he would love to have gone on that trip.
Wow.
He said Vietnam was a very, very beautiful country, and
Hmm.
we experienced that. It was a very beautiful country, but
Wow.
interesting perspective because they call it the American War, not the Vietnam War. So
Right. Yeah. Oh, wow. Wow. That's amazing. And I think that's really awesome that your dad is still with us today and watching all the great things that you're doing. You've been working with Ada Enterprises.
yes,
And so I would love to just touch on a little bit what you do there. And also would love to understand your journey into heading up the mainline veterans organization.
sure thing. So the company was started by Ernest Eda, and he actually also served as a medic in Vietnam, but stateside. And so he was very active in the community. It's a family owned and operated business. That does a private portfolio of real estate. We have tenants. We own and manage our own properties. We lease them out. We maintain them, and we do a little bit of development too. But he always felt that and his family, he has since passed away, and his wife and his two daughters are the owners of the company. I
Hmm.
run the day-to-day operations there as the president and CEO, and we really collaborate and work together a lot. And our mission is, to do what we do really well, but also to include the community as part of that. And we really do, I think we do a great job of giving back to the community. And I'm
Hmm.
not doing the pat myself on the back, but I mean, we
Right.
make extra efforts to do that. And that's been through the business association. That's been through the township. We've started a farmer's market and done all kinds of things. But one of the places that we've always been big supporters of were the Tredyffrin East Town Veterans Association, which we have since rebranded to the Mainline Veterans, because really their outreach extended beyond just those two townships. And
Sure.
so, given the climate in our country right now, we just really felt that our mission to help veterans, part of helping veterans was awareness and bringing awareness to veterans, telling their story, using social media more. We've done numerous video interviews, so we almost have like a little bit of an oral history of veterans and their pride in our country, their experiences, and and what they feel is important. And I think that's a really underserved message to tell our community and our country. And I think it's so important.
Right.
So that's
Right.
really what we've been trying to do.
Right. And that's really interesting, the interviews that you do. I saw something on the website about, summer interns taking up this cause of doing interviews. And where can you hear those interviews?
So those interviews can be found on Facebook or on Instagram
Okay.
under Mainline Veterans.
Oh, wow.
And
Okay.
we have upgraded our website, and I believe there's a link on that too.
Mm,
Although we have a social media gal that takes care of a lot of that too.
hmm
And we hired, we had 4 college and high school interns last year that were learning a lot about social media. And so part of their project was interviewing vets. And you know what? For those kids, it was eye opening.
I'm
They
sure.
came back and they were blown away by the experiences and the commitment, pride, and love that these veterans had for our country. I just think since we have been in essentially been in peacetime for probably their entire life. These kids are in their early 20s. They really have not experienced what that means to be patriotic or to be a veteran. They may I don't mean to sound so glib to say that they take it for granted, but kind of do.
hmm Yeah, and I guess, I mean, the Iraq War and Afghanistan War was going on. I mean, we just got out of that recently, but I guess they just weren't exposed to it as much.
Yeah, and it feels like, and it's funny because you say that, and I think that too, except, it's not in the forefront of our minds. Like we're not
hmm
getting reports every single night on the news. It's
Right,
not being pushed like that. It's almost like it's almost as if we have a presence there, but we're not in a war. We are, but it's not in our
right.
living room every day.
Yeah, yeah. And, me being in the military veteran community myself, a lot of veterans that I come across that are in our JDog franchise system or are looking at our business model have served in Iraq and Afghanistan,
Sure.
and so I almost feel like I'm hyper, focused, or because I've heard about that war, I've heard their stories, and so it's been in the forefront of what I deal with, I guess.
Sure.
Um, and yeah, that's really interesting. Um,
One of the things we're hoping to do is to create. So in 2015, there was an initiative in Pennsylvania to honor Vietnam vets. And our group was part of a larger organization in Chester County, and they had a ceremony that was like almost like a pinning ceremony. It was wonderful. And there were 53 Vietnam vets that came out and were honored and recognized and appreciated. And
right,
and we would love to put together some sort of similar uh, experience honoring actually post 9/11
mhm,
vets.
yeah,
There's a lot of them. And
hmm
just in Chester County, this blows me away. There's 25,000 veterans living in Chester County.
that's crazy, right?
It's a huge number,
It is.
and they're just living their lives, right?
Hmm
And it's something that we should. I feel like we should recognize
hmm
and maybe do a little better job, like honoring those people who have really made a difference to make our lives possible, the way
Right.
we experience
Yeah.
and know it now.
And it took so long, I think, for the Vietnam veterans to be recognized. And I feel like uh, there there's been a lot of that going on because they weren't received well when they came home after their service, and we're trying to do a better job, I think, as a country, and organizations are kind of trying to make up for that and honor them and everything. But it's kind of a good segue, I think, for what um, my next question is. So I know that you want to do some events, and you were talking about some way to get the 9/11 veterans who are living in Chester County to kind of find where they are and be able to recognize them, or, kind of bring them into the fold of mainline veterans. And so can you talk to me a little bit about that? I know you were kind of hinting at some possible upcoming event, maybe this fall or something.
Yeah, so we have two kind of big things we've been talking about. One is doing some sort of gala, and
Mhm.
gala may not even be the right description, but some sort of party event. And we were saying, let's call it like camo and crystal. Like, let's make it so that it's
I love it.
fun and themey, and where people can come casually, they can enjoy each other's company, and we can really do a great job of supporting and honoring our veterans. And so we're working on that. And it's coming at a time that the America 250 is happening, where we're celebrating the
Right.
Declaration of Independence and 250 years. So that technically is 2026, which could be that this gets pushed
Hmm.
back a little bit and maybe becomes part of that, and could
Right.
become a bigger event celebrating what veterans have done over the years for
Hmm.
our country. So we're working on that, which is cool. And then we're also taking we're refurbishing a lot of our memorials that are in the area. Um, some of these were done. The Easttown True Different Veterans Association was started to create better memorials honoring our veterans that we've lost. And
Hmm.
so they had started with that big arch that's in Berwyn, right by the
Right. Hmm.
station. And then they had another, if you ever walk through um, Wilson Farm Park,
Right.
and in the I think it's the southeast corner is
Hmm.
the Garrison flag that's like so fabulous. Every time my husband and I walk there, we take a picture with our dogs, like in the flag in the background, because it's just so incredibly beautiful, especially when the wind is just right. And
Hmm.
just below that is a memorial there honoring residents of Easttown and Tredyffrin from all the wars, and it's incredible.
Hmm.
But it's kind of like needs refurbished and refreshed, so that's going to happen.
Right.
And the last one is a memorial that everybody forgets and drives right by and never recognizes, in front of Whole Foods. There's
Right.
a little
In
stone
Devon. Right.
with a little tiny flag, and the flag gets caught in the trees there. And so we've had discussions with the landlord of that property, and I think they're not as receptive. So we thought, let's get a better location. So we're working on, and we have it approved, right across from the Devon Horse Show. We're
Oh,
going to put a
wow.
bigger flag, so it'll have like an 8 by 12 foot flag, like a big flag. And then we're going to move the memorial stone that's there. Um, we're going to have some bronze statue that's done, and a backdrop, so that it's very inviting and approachable,
Hmm.
and something that can be more engaging with the public, so they
Hmm.
can see it. And it's right across from the horse show. As you're coming up east from west, coming up the hill, the first thing you're going to see is this ginormous flag,
Oh,
which
wow.
I think people love.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love that. Hello, viewers and listeners. Are you a military veteran or military family member and looking to own your own business? If so, go to jdog.com and check out our two veteran focused franchises, JDog Junk Removal and Hauling and JDog Carpet Cleaning and Floor Care. Our franchisees nationwide are always looking to hire fellow veterans and patriots. JDog is the world's largest military franchise system with hundreds of locations nationwide. We are nearly 90% veteran owned, with the goal of reducing the veteran unemployment rate to under 1%. Check us out. Go to jdog.com to learn more. Now, back to the podcast. That's really amazing. And there's big stuff going on in Philadelphia this well, it's starting in June actually, because the Army 250 birthday
Right.
is being celebrated, and I just had the chapter president on from the Penn and Franklin chapter of the AUSA,
Wow.
who is forging and planning this big Army 250 birthday, June 13th to 15th, down in Philadelphia. And they have a lot of fun stuff going on, reenactments at different historic sites and everything. So they were just on, they're very excited. And I just had the president of the homecoming 250 for the Navy and Marine Corps,
Oh, that's cool.
which is happening in around October, November. So a lot of birthdays coming up
Yeah,
for our service branches, and they're celebrating it
it's so
all
exciting.
around the semi-quincentennial of our
Yes.
nation. So very exciting stuff. Well, you know, I love what you're doing in our area to preserve the memorials. I know the ones that you're talking about. They're absolutely wonderful, and I especially go by the one in Berwyn. That is just very beautiful. I go by that all the time. It's really amazing. Um, so this has been awesome, but you know, I come to the time in the podcast where I have to ask you your tactical treasure, Stacey. Do share. What is it?
What is my tactical treasure?
Yes.
Oh, what is my tactical treasure?
Something that
Um,
has
Near and dear
helped
to
you
my
in
heart.
your near and dear, something that's helped you in your journey in life.
You know what? My, I'll be honest with you. I would tell you my tactical treasure, honestly, is my dad.
Mm,
He has been such an inspiration to me. He has always been kind of this, silent strength behind everything I did. He, you know, I mean, both of my parents are great. And
right.
my dad was always this guy who really believed, and it didn't matter that, in the time when we grew up, right, that I'm a girl and not, he didn't get a son, but
Right.
he always believed I could do anything that any, as long as I tried really hard and I could work hard. And he really taught me that work ethic, and he taught me to be passionate about
Mhm.
about what I'm doing, and to love what I was doing. And he just believed in me, and I felt like that made a huge difference in my life. And I think that is why I'm where I am today, and doing what I do today, and doing for veterans what I do today. So
Oh, that's great.
I'm
I
grateful to him.
love that. That's a great tactical treasure. And yeah, what an amazing dad that you have, you know,
Yeah.
being behind you all the way. I had one too. He was awesome. Unfortunately, he's gone home to be with the Lord, but I always he always loved following the very very beginnings of our kind of entrepreneurial journey as Jerry and I got married. And he never was around. He didn't make it for the start of JDog. Um, and but I know he would love this because he was Army. He served in Korea, and you know, I know he would absolutely love it. And I know he's looking down on us, but that's great. You know, to have
Yeah.
an amazing father that is your source of strength and just has helped you in your journey and be where you are today doing such amazing stuff, not only in the professional realm but also in, you know, your volunteer work. It's just amazing, Stacey.
Thank you.
I love what you're doing. I love what you're undertaking with the mainline vets, and I look forward to just watching how it continues to develop. So
Thank you
that's
so
really
much. We're just
amazing.
so excited. Thank you for having me. I mean, this
Oh,
is
of course.
such a privilege, and quite honestly, I love what you do. I love the passion that you have, and I feel like it's, we need more of that. We just need people to feel more passionate about what the difference that they want to make. And it just It's incredible. So
Yeah.
thank you so much.
Oh, thank you. I do have one question though before we wrap up our time here. Where can people find and connect with you? And maybe if they want to connect with Ada Enterprises,
Sure.
um, how can they get in touch with you? And how can they find out more information on mainline veterans? And I assume people can donate and I believe you have a couple services for veterans as well, which we didn't quite touch on that, but I'd love to open that up if you want to talk about that.
Sure thing. So every year on Veterans Day, we have a service actually at the Arch in Berwyn, and we invite the community out. Following us, Mainline Veterans, on Facebook and Instagram, perfect way to reach out. We can be messaged that way. They can get online to our website at mainlineveterans.org and they can message us that way, or they can call me at Eda Enterprises. And I'm actually going to spell it because it's not intuitive. It's EADEH Enterprises. And we're on Instagram, we're on Facebook, we have a website, but people can find us right in Berwyn, in the center of Berwyn, where the farmers market is. We're very accessible and very open to any way we can help. I mean, especially our mainline veterans, we are looking, if there's something that a vet needs and the VA can't cover it, or they need something, we want to be able to see if we can help them out. So we're all in this together. So
Right, right. That's great.
yeah.
Great information, Stacey. Thank you so much. And I appreciate your time today. Thank you for coming on and sharing such great information with us.
Thank you.
Hello, viewers and listeners. We've just finished up a very amazing conversation with Stacey Ballard, who is a military family member with her father having served in the Army in Vietnam. She is now the president and CEO of EDA Enterprises. And she is also heads up the Veterans Association of East Town and Different Townships veteran organization, which is now named Mainline Veterans, who provides community-based support as a means of visually and practically honoring those individuals from the main line of Philadelphia who served in the armed services, protecting and enhancing our freedoms, particularly those who gave their last full measure of devotion to our country. Mainline Veterans offers veteran programs such as Project Blue Star, which is an initiative undertaken in partnership with the Upper Mainline Rotary. Blue Star families or families with a deployed service member are identified and offered support and fellowship by community organizations. Also available is financial support offered respectively and privately to support veterans and their families in the community. Mainline Veterans maintains the 4 memorials within the Mainline community. Berwyn Memorial, honoring veterans who were called to service during World War I from the community. Each stone honors veterans who were killed while serving in World War I, the Korean War, Vietnam, and those lost in service since Vietnam War. Wilson Farm Park Memorial, which has plaques that list the names of community members that have served in armed conflicts dating back to the French and Indian War. The Devon Memorial, formed after World War II by veterans of the Devon area. Lastly, Gold Star Mother's Garden, which is a small garden that was added to the Berwyn Memorial site and is dedicated to the late John Lamborn, a founding member of the organization. The memorial stone located in the garden speaks to the sacrifices made by veterans and their families and the burdens they carry. For more information on Mainline Veterans, to donate or to get involved with upcoming events, and if you're a veteran located in the Mainline Philadelphia area and have needs, go to mainlineveterans.org. And if you would like to connect with Stacey Ballard, please reach out to her at Ada Enterprises, and Ada is spelled EADEH Enterprises. Thank you for tuning in. Don't forget, you can find Tactical Treasures podcasts on all your favorite podcast platforms, on our website, jdogpodcast.com, American Grit, as well as our dedicated YouTube channel, We are now airing on Reese Across America Radio on Wednesdays at 5 p.m. Eastern and Saturdays at 10 a.m. Eastern for the encore. You can also find Reese Across America Radio on the iHeartRadio app, the Odyssey app, and the TuneIn app. We are also proud to share that our JDog Foundation is a Reese Across America sponsorship group. For each $17 Veterans Wreath you sponsor, $5 goes directly back to the JDog Foundation, whose mission is to prevent veteran suicide and heal veterans' mental health and PTS. You can donate right now at reaseacrossamerica.org/JDog. Again, thanks for joining us, and we'll see you again on another podcast real soon. Bye-bye now.